Hey guys, this is the second in a series of singing tip videos all about your vocal tract. If you saw my last singing tip video, it was a bit of a companion to a blog post I had written the other day about your vocal tract, basically the resonating piece of your voice. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that video or the blog post, I recommend going back and either reading or watching or both. I think the blog post is really helpful. It has a lot of really specific information about each different piece of your vocal tract, how it works. Vocal tract sounds really fancy, but it basically means your lips, jaw, tongue, soft palate, throat, and your larynx or your voice box, and how all of those pieces individually work and how they work together to help shape your sound and either help boost your sound and make singing easier and really resonant and free, or how those pieces can be kind of hindering that. So check out either one of those, especially if you have vocal issues, vocal strain, tension. I think you might find those really helpful to kind of get to the bottom of that. But I wanted to do some videos and kind of break down the individual pieces of your vocal tract. So today, let's talk about your lips and jaw. I'm kind of putting the two together because they're obviously, well, together on your face, in your body. And I feel like they obviously kind of correlate to one another. These are all obvious things, but sometimes we don't think about them. So it's helpful to kind of know what we're looking for when it comes to each of these individual pieces. So thinking about our lips as they relate to singing and how they relate to shaping your vowels, shaping your consonants, right? Your lips, the muscle that controls your lips kind of runs from the nose all the way down to the bottom of the chin. And the lips are really instrumental, obviously, in articulating our sounds. Lips are also instrumental in either narrowing or shortening the vocal tract, either by kind of spreading this way, right? When you're singing an E vowel, for example, or if you're smiling when you start singing, you might notice a different tone. So responsible for shortening or narrowing the vocal tract, also responsible for widening or elongating the vocal tract. For example, when your lips pull forward to form like an O vowel, for example, right? O has a bit of a darker sound than an E has a kind of brighter sound, right? So the lips can be, I don't find that too many people have a lot of like lip tension per se. It's more that maybe they're being underutilized, right? So take from that what you will. This is the part where people make jokes. But thinking about your lips, especially for singing like an O vowel or an Oo vowel, part of what makes an O or an Oo vowel when we're singing those words is the lips pulling forward to enunciate and articulate that sound and that shape. So thinking about what your lips are doing, right? Are you actually using them? Are you utilizing them as much as you can, or are they kind of like sitting stiff as you're singing, right? And you want to actually use those to kind of help you shaping your sound. It can actually make singing certain vowel sounds easier if you're just using your lips. On the contrary, sometimes I notice people manipulating their lips a little bit as a way to compensate for if I'm telling somebody maybe to open their jaws a little bit more or to open up. They kind of use their lips as opposed to opening with the jaw or dropping the jaw and opening up a little bit more. So something that I recommend, the cool thing about the lips is that it's one of those pieces of the vocal instrument, I should say. It's one of the pieces of our voice that we can actually see, right? So use that to your advantage, right? There's a lot of other pieces that we can't see, we can't touch, we can't feel, or maybe control as readily as we can control our lips. So taking a second to just check it out in the mirror when you're singing your songs, when you're singing different vowel sounds, and seeing what your lips are doing, right? Are they moving in a way that feels natural, like the way you speak, or are you either kind of like, do they feel sort of paralyzed and you're not really moving them, or are you kind of like moving them as a way to sort of compensate or overcorrect for maybe other pieces, right? So just kind of check that out. Another cool thing about the lips, a cool trick, and I'll talk about this in another subsequent video, is that you can use the way you're shaping your lips to either create a brighter or a darker sound, right? Either by spreading the lips like a smile, like so, to create a brighter sound that sounds a little bit higher and gets some more of that kind of like brilliance, or you can kind of purse them a little bit dramatically, almost like you're trying to press them against a pane of glass to make a darker sound. And I'll talk more about that again in a subsequent video, but that's a hot tip. You're very welcome for that. You should use that one, it's a great one. Let's talk about your jaw. So the jaw, obviously what does our jaw do? Frequently we use our jaw obviously to speak, but we also use our jaws to chew our food, right? So the jaw can be this really big source of tension because one, we have these masseter muscles, right, on either side of the jaw that we use to chew. The jaw also can be indicative of being sort of out of alignment in the rest of the body, right? So if we're sort of out of balance or out of alignment, a lot of the time our jaws kind of like tilt or compensate or tense to compensate for that. Any of you guys that have like TMJ or know that you grind your teeth or clench or just have like jaw tension in general, this is definitely one place to watch out for, right? All of that stuff, like, you know, in our daily lives can have a really big impact on our vocals as well, right? So think about, do you have any sort of jaw tension issues in general in your life, right? Simple things to kind of look for with the jaw. Again, this is one of those pieces that we can see. Thank God. So one really clear indication that there's some jaw tension going on is if you're reaching your chin, right? Are you a chin reacher? And I know for myself, I was a big chin reacher. I would always like jut my chin out and kind of like tilt my head to the side. My neck just cracked. Hopefully you didn't hear that, but that felt great. So for me, I had to kind of check and see, and sometimes I still do, I had to check and see if I was jutting my chin out when I was going to sing. Especially when you're going to sing your high notes, check in with your chin and see if you're reaching it like that. If you notice, when I'm reaching my chin like this, it's adding some stress and strain in the front of my throat and neck, right? And we don't want any strain around there, right? That's where obviously the vocal cords are doing their work, pulling to their different pitches. And we want to keep all of these resonating pieces as free from strain and tension as possible so that they can act, again, as resonators. They're there to be this open channel, not to sort of necessarily like get in the mix, right? So checking in to see if you're jutting your chin out, simply keeping your chin tucked can make a huge difference in the way your sound comes out and how strained or tense or how free it is, right? So this is one of those ones that's a very concrete physical action that you can actually do to literally produce your sound differently. And a lot of the time, this one, you know, you'll tuck your chin and you'll just notice that the sound comes out so much easier, that you like the tone so much better, right? Especially for like head voice notes and high notes and higher registers, checking in with the chin can make a really huge difference, right? Other things that are really helpful for addressing any sort of jaw tension are just doing some like stretches before you start singing, right? So literally like pretending you're chewing like a giant piece of chewing gum, right? So just kind of getting that. It's totally awkward to do alone towards a camera, but y'all are with me. So doing some of those sort of stretches with the jaw, right? Doing some like light neck stretches, some light sort of shoulder stretches, just to get this whole area like freed up from any tension that the jaw might clench and kind of hang on to, right? Massage is also really helpful. So literally just kind of massaging these masseter muscles here on the side that are responsible for chewing. And when you're going to sing, checking in, again, if you're going into anything that feels similar to like a chewing reflex, right? Is there any sort of clenching? Are you doing anything like this, jutting it out? When you're saying like an E vowel, for example, are you saying E, right? The way you would say the word me, or are you going E, E? That doesn't look relaxed and doesn't sound relaxed, right? You can hear it even just when I'm speaking. So checking in with the jaw and the lips. One other way that you can tell if there's jaw tension is when you're doing your hum, which a couple videos back, there's a whole thing about humming, a whole like nerding out about humming and how it can be really helpful for singing. When you're going to hum to try to feel your resonance, notice if your lips are tightening or tensing, right? If you're going, that denotes jaw tension, right? So you can kind of check in with that and try to release that even when you're doing your hum, right? So check in with your lips, check in with your jaw, right? Again, sometimes we can understand these things mentally, but the real work comes in singing, in the conditioning that into your voice, and conditioning your body to physically, again, be producing the sound in a different way. So something for me that I had to teach myself, since I tend to be like a chin reacher, is that I had to teach myself sort of the counter motion of tucking my chin a little bit, not crunching it all the way in, but tucking it just a little bit to counteract my tendency to reach it, right? So coming up with things like that for yourself, and then constantly being really consistent with that as you're singing your scales, as you're singing your songs, will make a huge difference in that muscle memory getting trained in and baked into your voice, that you don't have to think about anymore, right? Which is the place that we all want to be at with our voices. So so that is our sort of download on your lips and jaw. I will be back with another video talking about the other pieces of your vocal tract, your resonator, and how they can help you, and how we can find healthier ways to place them when we are singing. I hope you all have a lovely day, a lovely week. Hang in there, and happy singing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.